Bonjour mes amis, this is an Omega Automatic Genève. The model number, not a very catchy model number I admit, is the 166.0117. Now this is a vintage watch from 1972 and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. I'm not a vintage watch expert. I'm an admirer of vintage watches, and this one I have admired for a little while, and I thought I'm gonna get that and see what it's like in real life. And in real life, it's something else. It's absolutely beautiful. A really, really subtle but striking little thing. Let's tell you about it, shall we? So it's from 1972. No, this one's actually from 1974, but the model started in 1972. It's an automatic watch. It beats at... I don't know what it beats at officially. Comparing it to other watches I have, I'm just going to compare it to this Smith's that I know is 28,800 beats per hour. I think the second hand is going at a similar smoothness. I would say that's 28,800 beats per hour. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And the watch movement in there is a 1022. So this is automatic with day and date, a day and date window. Let's have a little look at the watch close up, shall we? See if I can get this nice and focused. So it's a sort of a starburst, silver starburst dial. Very nice. Silver indices with buttons at the hours and little dashes for the minutes. Nothing unnecessary or extraneous. The hour and the minute hand are the same design and width. The minute hand obviously a little bit longer than the hour hand. The minute hand reaches almost to the minute track. The hour hand reaches almost to the hour buttons. So consistent design there. We've got the Omega logo, which is printed on, I think with the Seamaster or the next. So the Genève is the sort of base model, the introduction range. The next one's up. The Omega is a little gold logo thing stuck on, whereas this is just printed. So we've got Omega Automatic written there, and I don't know if you can make it out. I'm going to zoom come close in. Bear with me whilst I find the focus. No, it's not going to do it. What I wanted to show you was the M on the font. The middle of the M has a downward arrow to it. Can you see that? On the Omega and the Automatic, the M has got a distinctive point, downward point to it. Anyway, down at the bottom of the dial it's written Swiss made. Obviously Omega is a Swiss watch company. This is made in Switzerland. Let's have a look round. So we've got the date and the day, black on white. Now the crown, which is signed, little Omega logo there, is a little bit tricky to pull out. To change the day, you pull it out to 1 and you go... No, hang on. So you pull it out to the first stop and that changes the... Oh, what does it do? I don't know what's going on. It's a bit unusual. So let's hang on. Let me figure it out on live. So that's to change the time. So pull it out all the way. Pull the crown out all the way and that changes the time. Oh yeah, that's right. So that way around changes the time. Go back and you change the day. That's it. So you go back to change the day. Once you've got the day, then you can set your time. Push it to the first click and you can change your date and then push it in and then you're done. Oh, and it was hacking. Did you notice? Pull the crown out and the second hand stops, so it's a hacking movement. which is good for setting the time accurately. Now this watch came to me, I've had a little bit of a fiddle with it, and I've got it to plus 10 seconds a day accuracy. I reckon I can get it better than that, but that's not bad for a watch that's 46 years old. It's pretty remarkable, I think. Now, a little detail that I doubt we're going to spot on the camera, and that is the signed acrylic crystal. So here, there, on that little central bit, is a little Omega logo stamped onto the acrylic crystal. The acrylic crystal, it's a box crystal affair. Can you see the sort of squaredness to the crystal? And it's acrylic, so any scuffs can be polished out nice and easily, which I like acrylic, especially with vintage watches. The lugs are quite sort of, I don't know how you describe those, they stick out. They stick out, which makes it a nice shape for the wrist. On the back, this has a screw back case with the Omega logo stamped into it, and it's nice. It's sort of brushed finish, nice and curved, so it sits nicely on the wrist. Now, have I got this open still? Hang on, let me see if I can just get this. Yeah, we'll have a look at the movement. I'll show you the movement. Okay, so there's the movement inside the Omega, and it's not massively attractive. That rotor is a little bit plain, but there's some nice stuff going on in there. So we've got the little model number stamped there. You need a little loop to see that, I think. Omega logo on the rotor. So that's kind of it really for the movement. I'm not an expert at all. There's some rubies in there. It's ticking away. It's nice. Nice sort of copper. It's all copper. Is it copper? I think it's copper. Copper looks like copper. If it looks like copper, it is copper, as my granddad used to say. Right. Oh, one last thing. On the inside of the case back is some stamping, and it says Acier inoxydable, which means stainless steel. Then we've got Omega Watch Co. Fab Suisse, Swiss made. Oh, then there's the model number, 166017. And got a little rubber gasket to give it its 30-metre water resistance. So I'm not going to be wearing that to the beach, but if I get pushed into the pool by my friends, then it's not going to be the end of the world. I haven't got any friends, don't worry. That's not going to happen. Okay, well that's it. That's my Omega Genève, which I absolutely love. Oh, hang on. The case back is being a bit of a pest. There we go. Right. Oh, I should give you some dimensions, shouldn't I? This is a vintage watch, so it's quite small. It's 35mm across the dial, but because of the very thin bezel, it does wear slightly larger. The lug width is 18mm. Now, a little trick I have for these modest sized vintage watches is to put them on wider straps, just to give them a slight more presence, because I have a large wrist, and they look a little puny on me, so I have a 20mm bracelet wedged into the 18mm lug there, and it just gives it a little bit more presence. The thickness of the watch, it's not a thin watch, it's 11mm thick. Actually, that is quite thin, isn't it? I think because of the dimensions of the watch, it looks a little chunky, but in reality it's not thick at all. And lug to lug is 41mm, so it's got a little bit of wrist spanning going on. So I'll just show it on my wrist for you. If you're worried about a small watch on a large wrist, there we go. Now, Some of you may think that does look small. I think that looks perfect. I think a vintage watch needs to look small, needs to be small, and needs to look small. Yeah, I think that's great. I love that. Just one last thing before I sign off. Now, for this watch, they originally came on beads of rice bracelets. Well, some of them did. And so I bought a beads of rice bracelet. Now, this isn't a vintage bracelet. I couldn't afford one of those, so I got one off Etsy, and it's a little shiny for my liking, but it looks the part. It comes with these end links, these sort of hollow end links that are not particularly brilliant. Anyway, it looks quite good on there, and it's comfortable. The only drawback is that it is 18mm, so it does taper as well. So the bracelet starts at 18mm and tapers down to, what's that, 16mm. So it was already quite narrow, and then it's even narrower at the clasp. But the clasp is good, nice and straightforward. Clicks. It's a little signed clasp, and it works well. So I didn't show the watch on that because I kind of prefer it, I think, on the leather bracelet. But just to let you know, the beads of rice BOR bracelet is kind of authentic for that period. And it does look kind of cool as well. Okay, well that's it, folks. Thanks very much for watching my review of my Omega Genève. Please subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. And if you do subscribe, you get loads of benefits. I'll come round and make you lasagna. I'll drive your kids to school. I can paint the outside of your house. All that sort of stuff. So please do subscribe. None of that's true. Thanks, folks. See you soon.